And so most people, when they hear about Zappos, think of us as an online retailer of shoes because that's how we started. But internally, we actually have a different philosophy and a different saying. We actually have a saying that we're a service company that just happens to sell shoes. And we're hoping 10 years from now, people won't even realize we started out selling shoes online. And actually today, we sell a lot more than shoes. We sell clothing and beauty products, handbags, housewares, kitchenware. And really, our goal is just to build the Zappos brand to be about the very best customer service and customer experience. And it actually doesn't even have to be limited to online. We've had customers email us and ask us if we could please start an airline or run the IRS. And we're not going to do either of those things this year. But 20 or 30 years from now, I wouldn't rule out a Zappos Airlines. That's just about delivering the very best customer service and customer experience. So in some ways analogous to Virgin, they're in music, airlines, and so on. The difference is the Virgin brand is more about being hip and cool, whereas we just want to be about the very best service. And so our whole philosophy is let's take most of the money that we would have spent on paid advertising or paid marketing and rather spend it on that, invest it into customer service and the customer experience, and then let our customers do the marketing for us through word of mouth, the customer experience. But for all the focus on that, and even though we want to build our brand around that, the #1 priority of the company is actually not customer service. Our #1 priority is company culture. And our whole belief is that if we get the culture right, most of the other stuff like delivering great customer service or building a long-term enduring brand or business, that'll just be a natural byproduct of that. So some of the stuff we do on the culture side, it starts with the hiring process. For everyone that's hired, it doesn't matter what position, accountant, lawyer, software developer, we actually do 2 sets of interviews. The first set is kind of your standard set. The hiring manager and his or her team will interview for fit within the team, relevant experience, technical ability, and so on. But then our HR department does a separate set of interviews, purely for culture fit. And they have to pass both in order to be hired. So we've passed on a lot of really smart, talented people that we know can make an immediate impact on our top or bottom line, but if they're bad for our culture, if they're not a fit for our culture, we won't hire them. It's not even a question. And the reverse is true too. Even if someone is doing their specific job function perfectly fine, even if they're a superstar in that job function, if they're bad for the culture, we'll fire them just for that reason alone. And our performance reviews are 50% based on whether you're living or inspiring the Zappos culture and others in the market. There's a lot of consultants, books, and so on that talk about how to motivate employees. A lot of corporate America actually motivates employees through fear. But there's other more positive ways you can motivate employees. You can motivate them through recognition. You can motivate them through incentives. If you do X, then I'll give you Y. But what we found at Zappos is there's a huge, huge difference between motivation and inspiration. And if you can inspire your employees through a vision that has a higher purpose beyond just money or profits or being #1 in the market, and if you can inspire your employees through having core values, corporate core values, not just stated values, but actually practice values that match their own personal values, then you can accomplish so much more, and you don't really need to worry about the motivation part of it. It just kind of takes care of itself. And this is the evolution of how we thought about our brand, because we kind of stumbled into this. It originally was just, let's just be the market leader in shoes. And then 4 years into it, we all sat around and asked ourselves, what do we want to be when we grow up? Do we want to be about shoes, or do we want to be about something more meaningful? And that's when we decided, okay, let's build the Zappos brand to be about the very best customer service and customer experience. And when we decided that and communicated that to our employees, a funny thing happened that we didn't anticipate. We found that suddenly employees were a lot more engaged and passionate about the company. And when customers called, they could sense that the person on the other end of the phone wasn't there just for a paycheck, but truly wanted to deliver great service. And when vendors visited us, we found that they wanted to visit us not only more frequently, but stay longer. And so all of these things had this kind of multiplicative snowball effect that really drove